So with the source control product installed, I can show different things, get latest. If you're in a multi-user environment, so somebody might have changed something underneath of you, you need to make sure you have the latest copy of theirs. One thing I'll do here is I'll say undo the changes. So to show me what is going on with that, and I can say, yep, that one I want to undo the edit, and I'm going to undo it. And now the visual cues went away because that object was pulled from the source code repository, the latest committed copy, and it was overwritten for that particular object. So now the code will go back to the one that has KGB underscore. Okay? And I mean, source control is stuff that's it's supposed to just be there and work for you and not against you. It's a lot of it, unless you get into some really esoteric branching and merging type stuff, it's just fundamental stuff that you want to be there and do what you need it to do to keep your code in a consistent, maintainable, roll forward, roll back state. And I think this product is something that's really going to get you, again, it doesn't have all the features that we need right now, but the features that it does have are really important. There's known workarounds for some things that aren't in there yet, and they are really, really working hard. They spent a lot of effort in Tech Ed this year, and have spent a lot of effort through their website getting feedback from users to prioritize the things that they need to add. And I think they're really doing a super job with that. And I hope that you guys will help out with that if you start to use the product. Question?
And so when you edit that sort of procedure whatever you're working on, and another developer goes into Management Studio and looks at the same procedure before you've committed the source control?
Before you commit, if they do get latest, they get what's already committed in the source control system.
Look at the old version, so to speak, because you've already executed the script on the...
Right. If another developer were getting that and they said get latest from source code, they get something that you have not yet committed. Okay. So again, with source code, you have to think about what you're doing and know how to use it to keep you from getting in trouble. Because when you've got 5, 10 developers or more working on, the source code, you really do have to dot some I's and cross some T's to make sure that you have a coherent version or a coherent idea of what your product is and where the state of the source code is at any particular time.
Would they at least maybe see an indicator that somebody else has edited that? But I guess
I think that part would be for if Bob is doing his work and Sally's doing her work and they're on different machines, when Bob compiles it, it will show up on Susie's copy. Oh, somebody changed that object. And that's where you would have that visual cue. Oh, Bob changed that object. Let me go get his latest code. And you might have, your design specification might say, you need the output from Bob's change to be able to continue with your particular development.
And we've got a way of doing source control. I don't like it, so I'm interested in this. But,
well, at least you have a way. A lot of people don't.
But there's always that disconnect, and taking that example, so Bob makes a change, he commits it to the database, so the new change is out there, but he has not committed it to source control. So
right.
So when Susie goes and executes that sort of procedure, something else is happening versus what she's seeing because she's gotten latest from...
Right, and that's a case where now you get into things like merging, because two people have a version of a particular object, and that is something that is in the queue. But again, those are the kind of things. That's the dot in the I and crossing the T that I mentioned. And that kind of stuff it's not necessarily easy. And so many people do it wrong. I mean, how many people in here have had a case where they compile some code that blew away some other code that they shouldn't have? I got the T-shirt, right? I mean, it's just, if you don't have good processes and good tools, it's inevitable that will happen. And then the only question is how painful was it? Did you bring down your $1 million an hour order entry website because you did that? Or was it just, you changed a report that somebody runs once a month, and you changed it before it actually got run, so it was no harm, no foul, right? And it could highly disparate outcomes there. Question?
Two questions, actually. One, this is just an add-on to SQL Server Management.
Management Studio, that is
So
correct.
that means if somebody gets, if they don't install it, they can basically do whatever they want.
They can, but it does watch the metadata, right?
Okay.
And the people that have it will see something got changed under the covers.
Okay. Now, what happens if you use the Visual Studio for certain projects?
Visual Studio to do stuff?
Yeah.
Well, it's not a bolt-in for that. And again, it is something that it uses other engines for the code storage, but it is primarily a Management Studio add-in for those that use Management Studio for their coding.
Yeah.
So,
there was one developer that came in and I'm like, I can't see this and that. I'm like, well, what are you using? I'm using Visual Studio browser. Yeah, you can't use that.
Right. And that's again good processes and good tools.
Until the guy complains about something.
You really need both.
So,
And I've been to so many clients where they give lip service to it.
yeah.
And they give lip service to QA.
Along that line, what about security? If you don't have access to see
That's another one where the security is based on whatever engine you're using for the storage. TFS or Subversion in this case. Those have their own security stuff built in.
No, I mean SQL security. And the developer, if they can't see the tables, they won't be able to see that the table changed if they update this for procedure.
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
I don't know the answer to that. So I believe, though, if they can see the code, I think the way the metadata sweeps, it looks at like sysobjects and things like that to see changes, and that's how it knows to present a little green dot there saying something's changed. So, questions? Let's take a quick look here at Hyperback. And what I'm going to do for this is I'm going to hit AdventureWorks, which I have installed on this. And I'm going to run this. You can see it's running. And according to previous executions I've done, it takes 21,288 with 8-point-something seconds. And it's a little faster right now, in phase of the moon or something. But pretty close. And note that I did native backup command with a .hpc extension, which was intercepted as a file I/O filter in the Windows subsystem. And it said, okay, I want to compress that on the fly and write it down for you. And here, it took 11 seconds.
15 seconds, 11 minutes.
Oh, you're right, 15. Okay, so more than twice as long. And that's a really small database, which is actually let's take a peek here. There's a difference in the two sizes. And actually, it turns out the AdventureWorks stuff isn't that compressible. The difference in real world that I've seen and other people that I know that use it, it's a much different spread than that. 70 to 80 or more %. So I/O is equal to performance. It's almost a direct correlation. Whatever you can do to save I/O is going to make things faster, whether it's from the performance of active queries or from your backup and restore. So there's a clear win. Multiple wins actually, because the backups are faster, so you hit the system less. Archiving, tape storage, everything is less. Right, so that's a clear win. But here's the thing that just is really cool. So I am now mounting, if you will, that backup without making a copy of it. I just mounted that as a database. And as you can see, it's a real database and the stuff is really there. And I can actually read from it. And it's faster. 0.7, 0.13, that's 0.45 here. And note the I/O is exactly the same between the compressed copy because it's decompressing it on the fly as it accesses the data. And that's 0.15 to, so that's let's see here, 4. Yep. let's see that one, 0.1 and 4.5 or so. And now I can show you that. Oh, let's go take a look here. One quick thing. SQL data. That is the VLDF file. That's the magic that allows it to work. Note that's 257. And over here, I got 129. So let's actually modify some data, which I'm going to change the aggregate that we just saw. So now there's only 2 of them. Okay? So clearly you can see that I actually modified the data. And now this one didn't change. And this one is, was it 257 before? Let's see, is that it? Yep. But think about being able to use this, again, to move your production, big stuff that just doesn't fit. And I've been to a lot of clients that literally can't put a copy of the production system on anything else that they've got. It's just too big. When you compress it to 10% of the size, you can put it on your iPhone if you want. Right? And you get, especially from a performance analysis and tuning perspective, it's real, it's 500 million row table. And you can see what the actual query plan is going to be. And put an index on it, because you can read and write to it. And see how does that change it before you try throwing it in your production system with the hope that it's going to make things better. And it might not.
To wrap it up.
Yep. I'm just about done. Any questions on this? Really, really good stuff. One last thing I'll show you here is I'll make sure that you get anybody who wants this, send me an email, or I'll try to get it up to the SQL website. Again, there's workarounds for things that are very important. They are actively working on the product. And if you want angus.chudley@redgate.com, if you send them an email, you can get a discount on Hyperback. I've been working with them for way back before they were part of Redgate. And I can get a little referral fee to add to my daughter's college fund. So the discount is good. It really, really is amazing product and functionality. Thanks a lot for coming. Enjoy the rest of your day.